That's it. You saw me running. There was a reason for that. I'm in a hurry, great hurry, to share with you what happened in the year 2050. Were you born in 2050? That's 2050? Probably not, because you're already born, correct? Now, but what happened in the year 2050 still puzzles me to this day. That is now 25 years before the event. But you see, the before it might as well be the after it. For, please remind me, who was that crazy Greek fellow who said that as above, so below? Heraclitus? Oh, wait a minute. Or was it the other way around? The way up and down are the same. And I think Hermes Trismegistus. Actually, I confuse them. Their names, that is, their sayings too. To be frank, they are all Greek to me. Moreover, the two could as well be Egyptian. What's the difference? You see, they were always out of each other's houses. Athens and Alexandria being in the same neighborhood around the waters. They were stealing words from each other. Words, you ask? Yes, of course. Remember, there was a time before time when the word was all the world. Well, because, hold it. Because you see, the word came before the world. Although before the word was sound, and before sound, silence. So even silence is the beginning of the word, and hence the world. See what I mean? You see, the word is in a sword, and the world. A bit confusing, crazy, you say? That's the point. That's the point, Salmon. Rushdie. I asked myself, were we crazy? Could we not see? Then I say, although we were all in our teens, we were just children, and children cannot tell the difference between the before and the after, the going and the returning, silence and sound, nothingness and being, or, mark my words, their connections. Children cannot tell. Now, you ask me how I know this. I know this because once I saw a father trying to teach his 1-year-old to walk. She clung to her father, I remember. It seemed she thought her body foreign to her, and so why not trust the more familiar to her, that is her father's hand? You see, she had long hair tied into 2 ponytails that fell over her shoulder. She stood up. She reached out for her father's hand but instead grabbed the dangling ponytail. Holding on to it, she walked quite confidently for some distance until, you see, she realized that the ponytail was not her father's hand. She fell down screaming for her dad to come and help her against a foreign object. And her dad rushed to reassure her. Now, I don't know if Francisca is here. You see what I mean, Francisca? That it is possible not to see or trust real connections. Now, please, I am not trying to deflect blame. I was there, that is 25 years before the event, and please, if I use the past tense, it is in keeping with the identity of the up and below, the before and after. But let me start with the facts of the matter. No. We were not babies like the 1-year-old in the example above, but teenagers, boys and girls. 193 of us from every corner of the globe. Our parents were members of the Global Parenthood for Peaceful Living. They campaigned against a world in which even children carry knives. Shape, but knives all the same. You see, in those times, that is before and also after 2050, knife fights were very common. There were even festivals of knives. There were schools for knives. There were knife factories. There were knife sharpeners and many other spin-offs from the knife industry. Tired of the failure, they, the parents, thought of creating a new world of peace as a model of all the worlds. So they put us in a one-way travel machine to the floating island they named Waromot, so as not to lose all contact with the earth, but so as not to lose all contact with the earth, they gave us each a music chip. Otherwise, we were sworn to maintain our new world with words, not swords. Waromot depended on it. And between you and me, I can tell you this. It does not take a genius to scramble the letters and come up with tomorrow. But when we eventually landed, after going to and fro in time, we shortened its name to Mot, M-O-T. We became Mortars, that is, the new citizens of Mot. It was a wonderful, wonderful world without knives, knife fights, or even recreational knife play. We did not even fear fights amongst us. You see, we all had hands. We were equal in a position to self-defend. For we had been carefully selected to ensure that we could survive in Mot with our natural abilities. More important, we knew we could settle differences with words. To this day, that is the day before, during, or even after 2050, I cannot tell how a fight broke among us. A fight over bread. You see, before we just had what we needed to satisfy hunger. But now this boy, I think, who on earth came from, I think, West California, this boy, want to have more than the rest of us, which meant that a few of us would have to eat less so that he might have more. We refused to part with our share. And then, suddenly, and seemingly out of nowhere, he flipped a knife. He bragged that he had toyed with his mucus chip to make it design and make knives. We tried to argue with him, but each time he was about to lose an argument, he would threaten us with his knife. In fact, one time, he did actually draw blood, the first and only drops of blood in Mount Paradise. But soon, a few others started manipulating their chips to do the same thing. Now, what if we all got knives? Some of us argued back. Please, let us destroy the knives and all the chips at once. That's when the boy from West California came up with an argument. And to this day, even here in Cooper Union, I don't know how he convinced us that the danger was not in the actual knife possession, but the knives the others, less responsible than he, might make in the future. What about those who had already discovered how to make their chips, design, and make knives? Oh, those with knives posed less a threat to Mount Paradise than those without, right? Before he and a few others could lay down their knives and even the knowledge how to make knives, the others had to prove that they had not and will never have or even entertain the means to make knives. Well, that was 2050 for me. A sensible plan for us all to destroy the knives we had, then eliminate all the chips with the knife-making capability, was replaced by that of stopping knives not yet made. Those who had the chips but had not yet made knives would have to prove to the satisfaction of those that had knives, and especially the one who had actually used it in Mount Paradise, that they had no intention now or ever to produce knives. That's why, even today, 25 years before and after 2050, I ask, how did we come to accept that logic of peace in our Mount Paradise? Thank you.